Our digital world, it feels so seamless, doesn't it? You tap an app, you stream a show, order some food, everything just works. But what happens when that massive, invisible machine that runs everything just stops? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into. It's a funny question, right? But honestly, it's the perfect way to think about it. It's what happens when one tiny little problem, somewhere in a hidden corner of the internet, ends up giving the entire world a digital fever. So, this all kicked off when one of the biggest cloud providers on the planet, Amazon Web Services, you've probably heard of them, AWS, had a major problem. And when it went down, it took a huge piece of the internet with it. It was a wake-up call for millions of people, showing them just how much of their daily lives depended on this one single company. All right, so to really understand the sheer impact of this, we're going to put on our detective hats. We're going to trace this outage all the way back to its source and see exactly how one tiny little hiccup created a worldwide headache. It all started in the dead of night, Eastern Time. 3:11 a.m., the first little warning signs start popping up. By 5 a.m., the system was clearly in big trouble. And by the time most people in the US were just waking up, grabbing their phones to check the news, the digital world was already starting to fall apart. And look, this wasn't some abstract failure up in the cloud. Nope. It happened in a very real place, a massive complex of data centers in Northern Virginia. The region is known as US East 1, and it's basically one of the most important intersections for internet traffic on the entire planet. It's also AWS's oldest and biggest region, so thousands of services are just built there by default. So what actually broke? Well, it was a really fundamental process called DNS resolution. Think of DNS as the internet's address book. It's the thing that turns a website name you can read into an address your computer can actually find. And on that day, inside AWS, that address book just slammed shut. And suddenly, thousands of services were completely and utterly lost. And this is where things get really wild. Because that one failure didn't just stay put in Virginia. Oh no, it kicked off a catastrophic chain reaction, like a line of digital dominoes falling one after the other. First up, the social apps. They just started to flicker and die. Snapchat, for example, which pretty much runs its entire operation on AWS, was one of the first big ones to go down. Users couldn't send messages, couldn't view stories, nothing. And then the entertainment world got hit. Imagine. Millions of gamers trying to log into Fortnite, and all they get are error messages. They're completely locked out because the game's servers were just unreachable. And here's the really crazy part. The problem was so deep, so fundamental, that even Amazon's own products started failing. We're talking Ring cameras going dark, Alexa smart speakers going silent. The system was so broken, it broke itself. And this wasn't just about fun and games. This outage started to hit really critical infrastructure, banking apps. Even government websites just went dark. It was a stark reminder of how deeply this one company is woven into our daily lives, from our money to our government services. The final count was just staggering. Over 2,000 companies reported being directly impacted by this. I mean, just stop and think about that. More than 2,000 businesses, all built on the same foundation, and they all stumbled at the exact same time. This quote from an expert really just nails it. The story of this outage wasn't just about AWS having a bad day. It was about our collective dependency, our reliance on a single point of failure. So all of this, it forces us to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. We're not just talking about websites and apps anymore. We are talking about a new, kind of invisible utility that our entire modern world is now built on. Okay, let's break this down with a comparison, because this is super important. Think about the power grid, right? When it fails, your lights go out. Simple. Well, when the cloud fails, your apps go down. Same idea. But, and this is the crucial difference, the power grid is a regulated public utility. The cloud? It's controlled by just a handful of private tech giants. So why does any of this actually matter to you? Well, first, remember, this was just a technical glitch, not some sophisticated cyber attack. Just imagine how bad it could have been. Second, it shows that your daily life, from banking to gaming, is deeply, deeply tied to this invisible infrastructure. And third, it proves that putting all our digital eggs in one or two baskets is just incredibly risky. So let's bring it all home with the big lessons here. Because this isn't just a story for the tech nerds. It's a lesson for every single one of us who lives our lives online.
Here are 4 key things to remember. First, check your assumptions. That app on your phone doesn't just work, it's standing on top of a fragile, super complex system. Second, if you run a business, this was a massive wake-up call about the dangers of relying on just one vendor. Third, just being aware of how all this stuff connects, well, that knowledge is power. And finally, the most important piece of technology in your life isn't the phone in your hand. It's the invisible infrastructure behind it, holding everything up.
So the next time your favorite app gets glitchy or a website just won't load, don't just get frustrated. Take a second and ask yourself this question. Because in this digital age we live in, understanding the power behind the screen is so much more important than the screen itself.
Thanks for diving into this with me.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe!